Hey there, welcome back to Highland Cycles and our weekly Shlog or shop vlog here in Montrose, Colorado, guys. If you're new here, consider sticking around to the end of this video. If you got here because of a review video or a crash video or some other thing, this is our weekly thing we do. They come out on Mondays around 4 p.m. Mountain Time. Sometimes I botch that and it's later in the week, but I try to get them out Mondays. Yeah, we just show you what happens during a week at a little motorcycle shop in Western Colorado. It's a lot of fun. Got an Angry Zach over there doing suspension. We got a KLR up here on this lift. We do a little bit of everything. We got an 82, 83 CR that's back here. Actually, I'll talk about that here in a second because I don't think there's actually anything wrong with it. It's an interesting story, but anyway, if that sounds like fun, here we go. All right, guys, so first on the lift is this KLR 650. We're putting the rear tire on it, and he wanted me to do the air filter. I just want to show you. Whoa, look at that. That is one caked up KLR filter. That is gnarly. I'm sure, hopefully, it's all good inside there. I can't imagine this runs that good like that. But let's talk about the CR. So we got the CR running good. Everything was happy. And then, unfortunately, the mom of the guy that brought it in hit it and knocked it over with her car. And she's super worried about how it's running. So I said it was smoking a bunch. And I'm like, well, it is a two-stroke. So they do that. So I think there's nothing wrong with it. I'm going to fire it up here later and we'll check it out. But I'm pretty sure that thing is all good to go. She was just super worried because she knocked it over. I don't know if it laid there for a while. Maybe it did and flooded or something anyway, so it smoked even more than normal. But anyway, I'm going to get this changed. Let's see, actually, before I do that, let's just see what the air filter inside looks like. That's always the determining factor, folks. It's okay that the outside gets super dirty. That's the whole point, is it's supposed to catch all that dirt. What is not okay is if the dirt gets past it. Ooh, well, that's not good. It's all torn up. And there is definitely schmegma behind there. So, well, there we go. I'm going to see if this thing even runs. Also, see if we can't procure a new air filter. So, watch this. Yeah. Bummer. Anyway, I'll let you know. All right, guys. Next on the lift is this little Honda CRF230. Yeah, 230. Basically, super mellow, super reliable, really great little just trail bike. Definitely not a race bike of any kind. But it has been sitting and needs a carb clean, and we have to hot wire it to get it started because he doesn't know where the key is. At least that's what he told me. Definitely not stolen. I know the guy. He's a great guy. So it's not a stolen motorcycle, but we are going to hotwire the thing, and we're going to get it started. So join me on this little odyssey. These things are great, super easy to work on. I'm going to start by, we'll take the tank and seat off, but honestly, you could probably pull this carburetor out without doing any of that, but I like to do it because we're going to put a spark plug in it and all kinds of stuff. So let's get the seat and tank off. All right, guys, we got her off. And if you could smell this, you would know exactly what we're getting ready to deal with. Smell of old gas is always bad. So with these guys, usually, like, I gotta put you guys down, but you can pull this back and pull this out and pull it this way, and then we'll get the get a 10mm wrench and pop those loose and get the cables off. It's harder than it should be. All right, guys, here we go. Take the sucker apart. Throttle, I think, does move, so that's good. At least that's not stuck with the old varnished up gas. Ugh, gross. But honestly, not as bad as I thought. So that's good. We're gonna run it through the ultrasonic without taking everything out first to free everything up. It's pretty stuck in there. The needle and seat are pretty gummy. What's that? All right, there we go. This hose does not want to come off, but oh, there we go. And pro tip, guys, don't put the screws in there because they tend to fall through gratings and get hidden and you can't find. Anyway, don't ask me how I know. All right, all this into the ultrasonic. All right, guys, we got everything all apart, cleaned out, blown through. We got the fuel screw out, which is kind of a pain in the butt on this style because it's like this D-shaped thing that takes a special tool like that to get on there and actually turn it. So I'm going to now do a little modification so in the future we can just use a flat blade. So we're going to cut a flat thing right across here. Okay, I've chucked it up here in this off jaw. It's super light, and I have a file, and we're going to use this file to just ease a little groove right into it, right across here. I don't have a power tool that'll do that, so we're just using this thing and be really careful. Cut down in there nice and deep so we can get a good purchase on it with a good flat blade. Let's see. Focus, there we go. There we go. Modified. All right, now we're gonna put it all back together. Take a look at all the O-ring and washer on that are all in good shape, so I'm gonna just go back together with our flat blade to test our work. Oh yeah. I'm gonna check this float by blowing through this and make sure it stops when we push this up. So it does work. Now we're gonna check the height. So we're just gonna put it like a 45. You want it to stop when this is pretty much level with this. It's a little off actually, so we're gonna lower that. There we go, that's better. Blow through these jets. All right, predictably, the pilot jet is clogged all the way. So I'm gonna try blowing through it here, but we may have to result. All right, nothing. Let me show you something. Here's my pilot jet cleaning tool. Just a piece of wire that we strip back. So we've got get single pieces and we can just push down in here and just spin it. Usually spin it, just a little bit of pressure. Obviously you can't put too much or it'll bend the wire. If it doesn't go through one way, go through the other side. Just be real patient and get it through. Obviously you could just get a new jet, which wouldn't be a terrible idea. But if you don't have another jet, there we go. This works. Nice and clean. All right, guys, we got everything back on that needs to be onto the bike to run. Let's see. We got a charger. Actually, guys, honestly, these things, sorry for the advertisement, but this is actually pretty sweet. Tusk is making a little mini battery charger thing you can carry around if you got a bike that doesn't have a kickstart, which this one doesn't. But like all the new, basically all the new bikes, except for a YZ250. Carry this little sucker, super lightweight. You can jump batteries with it. Yes, it's made in China, but I'm pretty sure every one of these is made in China. So you might as well buy the cheaper one, even though it's just a rebranded the same as all the other ones. So yeah, works great. Clutch in. All right, choke was on, so let's turn that off, see what happens. What I don't know is whether or not gas is actually getting to this thing, and it might not be, because this petcock was disgusting. I sprayed a little brake cleaner in there. Let's see. All right, we got to figure that out. But you heard it try to run. But my guess is this petcock is gross. Probably means this whole gas tank's disgusting. I thought they refilled it with good gas, but I don't think so. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll be right back. All right, guys. So I took the petcock off, ran it through the ultrasonic, and then blew air through it both directions. And I think we should be good. All right. We're going to get there. Let's go half choke. So far, so good. It's a little rough, but we might have to adjust that fuel screw. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go grab the tool and adjust that fuel screw. Go. Had to open that fuel screw up a little bit. I like it. Still a little rough. We'll fiddle with that once we get some more time on it. Now I've got this hot wired. I'm not going to show you guys how to do that because I don't want someone hot wiring a Honda CRF because they watched my video. So I'm not going to show you how I did that, but I did. Yeah, now I'm gonna get that tuned up. We gotta change the oil, lube the chain up, and then give this guy a call, see if we want to do another battery. I'm sure he'll want to, because, you know, it's a sweet bike and we gotta get it fixed up for him. So, pretty psyched about that. All right, guys, next on the lift is this Beta 500RR 4-stroke. And it is here because it says it sounds like it's running hot. It's got a leak out of the bottom right side somewhere, so you gotta figure that out. And then it's hard to start when it gets hot. So the hard to start when it gets hot and running hot make me think that maybe our valves are a little bit tight and the intake valves are leaking and causing it to run a little bit hotter than normal. I just checked the fan. Sorry I didn't show you guys, but basically to see if the fan works, you take these plugs off, jump them together, fan turned on. That does not mean that the sensor is working. So we'll check that here in a little bit, but we don't want to run it before we check the valves. When you're checking valves on a 4-stroke, guys, or I guess it has to be a 4-stroke. Anyway, when you're checking valves, you want to do it with the bike cold. Now, ideally, you want it sitting overnight or whatever, but honestly, if you let it sit for a couple hours, let it get to room temperature, you're fine. Maybe off a 1/10 of a thousandth, I don't know. But yeah, you'll be just fine. You just don't want it hot. So yeah, let's get this tank off, get the valve cover off, and take a look inside. All right, guys, Beta likes to do this. If you look right there, that is a safety Torx. Why on earth would they do that? I know you can just knock it out with a punch, but seriously, why? All right, guys, what you just saw me doing there with the rear wheel is I put the thing in gear, put it in 5th or 6th or whatever, top gear, and was rolling it with the wheel because there's no access to the crank here, right? So, sorry, no access to the crank here without taking that cover off, which then leak oil everywhere. So the only good way to turn it over is with that. So now we are at close to top dead center, close enough that the cam lobes are pointing up and out. Let's go check these intakes first. The left one is, or excuse me, right one. All right, intakes are good. Right one's good. All right, so that's good. Valves are good. I'm happy about that. I'll put this cover back on. I think I found the leak. Looks like just got a gasket leak somewhere down in here. So probably have to get a new clutch cover gasket. That's no big deal. So I'm gonna put the tank back on here and run this thing up and see if we can't see if the sensor for the fan is working or not. All right, guys. Now we are going to check the thermo switch. Anyway. The switch, the thermostat switch, whatever you want to call it. I think it is actually technically called a thermo switch. But we're going to use the blue wrench to heat this thing up, get it up to temp, and see if it comes on. I got the power on the bike. I'm just not going to run it and sit here, burn a bunch of gas, and fill the place with fumes. So I'm going to do this and see if we can get this thing to turn on. This is going to take some doing because it's full of water or coolant. Hey, there we go. Didn't take that long. Sweet. So that's all working. That means that it is actually getting hot, and at least the fan's working. So now my next thought is what makes the bike hot, and that's a lean condition. So I'm going to go grab a tester for the fuel pressure, plug that in line, put this all together, and see what we get for fuel pressure. All right. So I don't actually have a connector for that. It turns out these are just a tiny bit different than everybody else's. So I'm going to start with the spark plug. We'll pull the spark plug out and take a look at that. All right, guys, this is super annoying. None of my spark plug tools fit in the hole because of the frame. So I'm going to take the valve cover back off and then check it. All right, we might not be checking that spark plug today. We're gonna have to get that tool, obviously, if we want to work on these things. I'm just so surprised it takes that special of a tool. I have quite a few special spark plug tools. So what we're gonna do, guys, we're gonna just confirm the whole situation by firing it up, riding around, and seeing how hot it gets. All right, guys, just took it for a spin. It runs good. Seems all fine. I did find some other leaks. Definitely looks like a leak out of this sensor right there. It's probably gear position or something like that. So that's leaking and running down all over everywhere. I don't think it's the countershaft seal because it's not right below the countershaft, so it's got to be right there. So there's that leak, and then over here you can see that this is wet, like right there and right there. It's not super wet, but I can see how if you rode a long time, got the oil real hot, that would leak. So we need a gasket for that, figure out what's going on over on that sensor. And then it's got a check engine light, which is another thing that doesn't flash or anything, it just comes on. So I'm going to do some research on the line and see what I can't figure out about that. So stay tuned. We're going to figure this thing out. All right, guys. Next on the lift is this Husqvarna TX300. Obviously, super duper decked out, but it's flashing some codes, and we are going to use the ERM from my bike to read those codes. So let's show you how that works. It's pretty cool. You can't flash another bike with a map with your ERM. It's locked to individual bikes that way, but you can, should be able to read codes and clear codes. Thank you, Leandra. She snuck in. There it is, flashing codes. All right, guys, so I did some checking. I called Steve at South Bay Motor Performance, and unfortunately, I cannot read the codes on a TPI with my TBI ERM. Now, other TBIs, I can. And if I had one set up for a TPI, I could read this, even though I can't flash maps into it. So unfortunately, they are different. The ECUs are very, very different between these two bikes, so that's why it doesn't work. So bummed about that, but that's okay. We can still work on this thing. Now we just have to read the flash codes and figure out what they mean. So let's hit the button. And, oh. It's not flashing anything, so. So it's not flashing anything now, of course. That's how these things usually go. Alright, I'm gonna put you guys down, put the number plate back on this thing, and take it for a spin, see if I can't make it flash. Alright guys, so that Husqvarna ran perfectly and never flashed a code. So, yeah, I don't know. Unfortunately, like I said, the ERM will not work on that since it's a TPI and mine is set up for a TBI. I have an OBD2 reader. I have a reader that I could probably plug in. I might work on that later. So stay tuned. We'll dig back into that here in a second. But I gotta get this done. This is an FC250. I think it's a 250. Hang on. Yeah, FC250 that our customer bought. And obviously he's got set up more for off-road. Got a kickstand on it. Hand guards and stuff like that. And skid plate. And he's really wanting this thing to be an even more off-road bike, so we've got a weighted flywheel to put on this thing from Steely, and I've never actually done one on these bikes, but here it is. Join me. This would be kind of cool. I think we have to glue something. I'm not even sure. Yeah, anyway, there's a lot going on here, so let's go. Lots of instructions. So yeah, it's a weight ring, mounts on the rotor. Looks like we're gonna have to, yeah, glue it on there. Anyway, let's pop the stator. Well, first of all, we're gonna drain the oil. Then we'll take the cover off, and then we'll take the flywheel off, and then we'll start working on it. All right, guys. So got her off. Sorry, I didn't show you. They just need a flywheel puller. It's simple. So, all right, guys. So we gotta obviously clean this thing really good, get all the oil and everything off of it. So I might actually drop this in our ultrasonic to start and let it run there, and then we'll use a brake cleaner, get this thing super duper clean. And then you want to use rubber gloves to handle it so you don't get any oil from your fingers on there. And then they say they want you to texture the where it's gonna go. So like if you look here, they've marked it with green marker just so you can tell what you're doing. But that's obviously this surface right down here, and you can hit it with a punch, whatever. It shows an engraving thing. We'll use a punch probably. Now we got our epoxy, and we got our accelerant or whatever, hardener. I think I dumped all of this. I'm gonna check here. So everything's pre-measured. Stick for mixing. We're gonna take this and get epoxy all in here. Okay, I'm going to clean this little bit of excess I got right there. Now we take our hoop. Put this on. I'm gonna push that down on there tight, and now what they say is you got to make sure you keep that hoop down in there. Now I'm just gonna clean, partially because you just want things to be clean. The other thing is technically a little excess might make it out of balance. I don't think that would make a bit of difference, like really, but. All right, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in here and twist it so it holds that hoop down. All right, guys, now we're gonna clamp it. You gotta wait 24 hours. So, all right, there we go. You wanna make sure the ring isn't touching any epoxy so it doesn't stick to it. And all right, guys, so the Husqvarna flywheel weight is still curing. I got to take it home and put it in our oven. My wife's going to love that, but we're going to do it because it takes being at 250 degrees for 2 hours. So you can use your kitchen oven. There should be little to no odor. It says right there in the instructions. So I'll show that to my wife if she freaks out. But yeah, so I got to do that. So I cannot report back on how that goes. There's also some case modifications. I don't know if it's the cases or if it's just the cover. But anyway, there's some more modifications I got to do to the bike to get it done. What's that? Okay, that's Lander. Anyway, so make sure you guys subscribe because we'll be doing that next week. I'll show you what we have to do to finish up that job. Also, we're going to be installing a fan on this TE300. It's a 24, obviously. I guess I say obviously. It's 24 TE300, putting a OEM style fan on it. It's just plug and play, so I'll show you how that works. Also, we got a motor part over there that's a huge nightmare. I don't know how much I'll film of that. Anyway, stick around because there's more stuff coming next week. Also got a big box of cool stuff from Tusk / Rocky Mountain ATV. All that is coming next week, so make sure you join us. And I'm gonna head out right now, and yeah, it's Saturday, end of the week, end of the Shlog, time to get out and do some dirt biking and have a lot of fun. So I hope you guys get out, spread the gospel of two wheels, and as always, I desperately hope that what we're doing here is inspiring you guys to work on, but more importantly, get out and ride your dirt bikes! Oh, there he is!